Welcome back, guys. We've all been out the lake before catching fish, and people walk up to us and the first question is, what are you catching them on? You're the guy over here catching all of them, and the guy next door ain't catching nothing. Sometimes it's actually what you're using, sometimes it's how you're using it, but today we're not going to get really deep into that, but I do want to talk about what's in the box, right? This is the Pan Fishing Early Spring edition, really, but I'm just going to go over what I keep in my small box. I like this little small AFCO box. It holds 3 of the small cases that I can just throw in, throw out. This box is kind of like my go box. So I've got tackle boxes, or those little small plastic tackle boxes of bass fishing, crappie fishing, saltwater fishing, whatever. That way when your buddy calls you, he's like, hey man, you off today? You want to fish? You grab the 3 or 4 that you need, you throw them in this box, and you're ready to go. But today, like I said, we're going to focus on pan fishing. Hazel the Bear, my dog's come to check us out. But always keep 4-pound fluoro for what I'm doing with casting. So there's 2 ways that I pan fish. One's cane pole, and the other one's casting or bobber, whatever you want to get. And I'll get into those setups here in a little while, but this setup's going to be for casting. So I always got my fluoro in there in the front of my box. If you're young, listen to me. I wish I would have done this years ago, but quit biting the daggone line with your teeth. Put some fingernail clippers in there. Good to go. This time of the year, it's really cold outside. I always keep a thing of hand warmers. You can call me a Nancy if you want to. You won't hurt my feelings. I'm over that. And then I keep a pair of scissors on the side. These are stainless steel, so they don't rust, because I do a lot of saltwater fishing as well, so that keeps my stuff from rusting out. On the top of the box, it's just open in the top. I'll show you guys. It just has like a spot that's flat, wide open. That's where I keep all my plastics at. I pretty much stick to 2 main types. I use the Panfish Assassins. They're small, and these hold together much better than the Baby Garlands do, which is my other. The Baby Garlands are a better bait to catch fish. If I had unlimited money, that's all I'd fish with. But you catch 2 or 3 fish, and these will fall apart on you. But I'll show you. This is what I'm using. I keep probably 7 or 8 colors. That was Blue Pearl. I got Crystal. I got Threadfin Shed. I got Monkey Milk. I try to keep several colors on hand because you never know what they're going to want that day. Some days the watercolor makes a huge difference in what you're fishing with. So I like to keep several on hand. But typically what I'll do is I'll throw these Panfish Assassins first, because they hold up so much better. And if the fish aren't so picky that day, and I'm catching on these just fine, then I'll keep using these, so I'm not spending so much money on bait. And then inside of the tackle box, I keep all of my baits that I haven't opened yet for any kind of pan fishing. These are all brand new, right? So I just keep them in the bottom in the package. I always keep an empty container, because here's what happens. We get out on the lake, your buddy starts catching fish, you cut off what you got on, you tie on what he's got on, and you lose a lure or it rusts out. So inside of here I just have, this is the last thing. We went trout fishing in the fall. We were deer hunting, up in the mountains, and we trout fished a little bit while we were up there. So these are the ones that I cut off and switched over. That's kind of like my reminder to clean them off, cut the line off, get them ready for next season. So this is kind of my used baits. And then in this box is all the stuff that I plan on using in this next trip for pan fishing. I've got weighted floats. This is the larger one. Sometimes the fish are real funny and they want the presentation a little differently, so we'll use a smaller float. I've got 32-ounce jig heads, real small. And then I've got every color of, I don't know if you can see that or not without me dumping them out. 8-ounce jig heads, 16th-ounce jig heads. 16th ounce is probably my go-to. Why that matters is when your bait is falling in the water, it presents differently. If fish are real picky, it's cold in the water this time of year, there's ice in a lot of places, you want your bait to fall real slow. So the 32 ounce will make it fall very naturally in the water column. So you twitch your bait, and as the bobber's pulling the bait, it's pulling the bait up into the water column, and then it falls back down. And that's usually when they're going to strike. And for that setup, people get real funny about rod and reel setups. You know, here I've got a, you know, baby garland. It's messed up because we were just fishing yesterday. 16th ounce jig head, the monkey milk, and about 3 feet up I've got the larger, because where I happen to be fishing at, I wanted to cast further. So you kind of play the game. I am using a 7-foot medium light rod. Nothing special here. For pan fishing, I don't spend a ton of money on rods and reels, right? But this is a Daiwa. It's a BG system, 7-foot medium light. I like this rod because a lot of the places I go, I need to be able to cast a long ways. So if you need that, you need a little bit of a stiffer rod and a little bit more length to be able to get some distance out of your cast. We're using 4-pound fluorocarbon. I'm using a 1000 series Shimano Sahara reel. Again, not a real expensive reel, but we're pan fishing, right? If I lose a pan fish, I'm probably not losing a fish of a lifetime. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. So I typically spend more money on the rods that I'm cobia fishing with or bass fishing with, something that has a little bit more personal preference for me. But that's my setup. If you're fishing somewhere where you're fishing right off the side of the boat, you don't need a 7-foot rod. You can probably get away. I would actually recommend an ultralight. It's a little bit more fun to catch them on, and probably like a 6-foot. So now we'll switch over to my other pan fishing tackle box. Alright y'all, let's talk about my other fishing tackle box. For a good laugh this morning, I want to show you the prettiest tackle box I own. As most of you guys know, I got twins, one's a boy and one's a girl, and I think on their 5th birthday I bought them matching tackle boxes. She fishes with me, but not like he does, so I commandeered her tackle box. And I use it for my year-round, if you will, crappie fishing tackle box. So a little bit of my background. My grandfather had a nice Ranger bass boat, and all he did was cane pole fish out of it. So him and my dad both got me into cane pole fishing as a young child. It's a great thing for kids. You know, if you want to get them out on the water, it's simple, it's easy. That's all there is to it. So in here, I like to keep this hard-sided tackle box because it fits the bobbers nicely, evenly. I keep 2 colors in here. I keep an orange and a yellow, and I don't think it matters to the fish, but it matters to my eyes. So if it's when the sun's a certain way and on a certain day, I can see the yellows better than I can see the oranges. So I like to keep both in there. Split shots are important. We keep several different sizes depending on how fast the water's moving. So I think size 4 is probably my go-to. So sometimes we'll have to put 2 on depending on how fast it's moving. You want your bobber to stand up straight. That's the ticket. If it's sitting like this, then your minnows are small and you ain't got enough weight, or vice versa. You want it to sit up vertically. I keep a lot of size 1 light wire panfish hooks. That's our go-to for the cane poles. And then simply put 17-pound Trilene Extra Tough. That's the line we like to use. I keep that on hand because you're going to break them off sometimes. People say 17-pound test line. What are you doing, Jay? You're crappie fishing. But you know, we like to make sure that we recover as much as possible. So if you get tangled up, we simply point the rod at the tangle or the snag, pull it straight till these light wire hooks will just open right up and release everything, so we don't lose so many bobbers and so much lead in the water, and we get most of our hooks back. And if you bend them, you can simply take your fingers and bend them back, or if you're not comfortable doing that, you can take a small pair of pliers and do it. So I really like, when we were doing with my grandfather and my dad, we had actual bamboo cane poles. They don't store very easily, but they're a lot of fun to fish with. But for convenience, I've kind of fell into using these Black Widows. There's a couple different on the market nowadays, but I like the thickness of the handle of the Black Widow. It feels good in my hands personally. My wife likes the thinner ones. I'm using a 13-foot so I can reach out further and get to the spots that I want to get to. But you know, they make them in 10-foot, 12-foot, 13-foot, whatever. They make them in different. They don't tell you how heavy they are like a standard fishing rod. But I have found that the Black Widows are a little bit heavier on the tip, which I like because it gives me a better hook set. So, but anyways, I just want to share with you guys what we fish with. I'll show you some pictures here at the end of how we've been doing this year so far in the spring. I'll show you a couple of them that we did it last year in the summertime. We fish all year. We like to have fish for eyes, so hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll do another What's in the Box edition when bass season kind of gets a little bit heavier, and then when saltwater fishing picks up, I'll do another one. So hope you guys enjoy. See you on the next one.